Hey, what's up? David Reuille here. I'm glad you guys could join me today. I'm going to be teaching you how to create a simple dance. We'll be going through all the steps you need to come up with new movement ideas. We're going to be learning how to put them together in different ways. And then at the end, we're going to put them into a dance. You ready? All right, one thing before we get started. I just want to give a little explanation of dance improvisation and how we'll be using it to explore movement. A lot of people don't understand improv. They think it's just moving around, doing whatever you want. That's great fun to do when you're dancing with your friends or yourself blasting the music in the living room. But in this context, we'll be exploring movement in a little bit more detailed way. First thing we need to know about improv is it's super important not to edit ourselves while we're doing it. This means don't be self-conscious about the movement or judge what you're doing in the moment. Just go with it. I don't know what to do. Secondly, I'll be giving you some cues and prompts to help you think about moving differently. Try to explore each one of these new prompts as fully as you can. Don't be satisfied with trying something only 2 or 3 different ways. Look, I did it. I solved it. Let's see how many different solutions you can come up with for each new prompt. Lastly, I'll be giving you rules for each new improv. It's important to try and stay within the rules. Explore as many ways of moving within these rules. As we go along, the rules will add up, stacking on top of each other. It can get super challenging, but trying to problem solve ways of moving within the rules almost always comes up with some fun, unique movement ideas. Let's get started. All right, we're going to get started. We're going to begin by exploring moving our elbow. Let's see how our elbow can move in a straight line. Can it move parallel to the floor? Can it move perpendicular to the floor? Can it move diagonal? Can you make it move slow? Can you make it move super fast? Now, we're going to try and make a box. 4 sides. Can we draw a box? Nice. Now can that box be around your body? Can it be a dotted line? I want you to take a moment and pause the video, and you're going to take just about 2 minutes and explore different ways of moving your elbow. Can you draw letters with your elbow? W. Take a moment. Don't think about curved lines though. Think about just straight lines. That's it. All right, I'll catch you on the other side. How'd you do? I hope you did really great. I hope you came up with some really unique ways of moving your elbow in different directions. Now let's pick another body part. I'm going to use my left knee. You pick any body part you want. Try to be super specific. For instance, instead of picking my whole left leg, I picked just my left knee. So instead of picking maybe your head, you could pick an ear or your nose. Don't pick your nose. Please don't pick your nose, but you can use your nose. We're going to explore moving our new body part in circles. Let's start small, moving just that body part in a circle. At this point, we're trying to move just that part if possible. I'm moving in a circle. Try different directions. Can you move it circle clockwise? Can you move it counterclockwise? Can the circle go all the way around your body? Can the circle be squished or oval like an egg? Can you make the circle behind you? Can you make the circle in front of you? Can you make the circle above you? I'll see you back up there. Whew. Can you make the circle below you? All right, now I know I'm being a little bit silly. Now I'm doing that on purpose because what I want you to do, everybody, is I want you to treat this with a little bit of whimsy and a little bit of curiosity. We don't want to get stuck, like I said before, we don't want to get stuck in our head and think that this is not a dance movement, or that is not a dance movement. We have to be able to explore different ways of moving. We want to explore different body parts that can move independently, and we're going to come up with some new ideas that maybe we haven't seen before. That's our goal through this improvisation. Take a second and go through this circle idea of moving your body in a circle. Move that body part in a circle. Try and explore as many different ways as you can. Can it have a different quality? Can it have soft? Can it have hard? Can it have fast? Can it have wiggly? Can it have any adjective, any adverb that you could think of can be a quality of movement. We want to explore different qualities of movement in our circle. Come up with some new ideas and I'll come back. I'll see you guys in a second. Where'd you go? Oh, are you back? Okay, you're back. Awesome. I hope you guys came up with some really cool ideas. And like I said before, we're going to add on to some of the ideas. We're going to put them together a little bit. First thing we're going to put together is we're going to put together our elbow straight line and our circle leg. Now, we're going to not do them at the same time. We're going to do them alternating. So we're going to come up with an easy pattern to begin with. We're going to start with a straight line with our elbow, one. And then we do a circle with the leg. We do another straight line with our elbow. We do a different circle with our leg. Circle. Nice. One more time. I go 1, circle. I go 2, circle. Nice. I go 3, circle. I go 4, circle. Nice. We're going to keep exploring back and forth. I want you to come up with 4 or 5 different patterns of putting these together that make sense to you. Now, I'll give you an example of my first 2 patterns. First 2 patterns. One goes this way, circle. I go this way, circle. I want it to be at least 4 movements put together. If you have more than that, that's fine. Obviously, up to your memory. Don't go past 8 different movements together. I'll give you an example of a little bit longer one. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's 8 different movements put together. I want you to come up with something interesting, unique. I was doing a lot of crossing back and forth. You can do diagonals, you can do those up and down, you can do multiple straight lines. It doesn't have to alternate exactly back and forth. By patterns, I mean groups together. Here's the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one pattern. Second pattern I had was the 8. I don't remember the exact version. I'll have to remember it. I'll make it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's 2 patterns for me right now. One has 4 movements, one has 8 movements. I want you to come up with 4 or 5 different patterns, and we're going to put them together into a shape in a second. All right, pause it, come up with those things, come back. Oh, you guys are back? Okay, sorry, I was just taking a coffee break. All right, I'm going to show you my 4 versions. You saw one of them already. I'm going to keep this one. I liked it. So this is my first one. I go 1, 2. Next one. Next one is going to go diagonal straight line. I go just the knee. I go diagonal straight line, circle around, zigzag line. From here, circle of the knee. Timing will go like this. It goes 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 5 and 6, 7, 8. That's my second one. Third one, I'm going to do a little something called retrograde. Retrograde is basically going in rewind. We go forward. I'll show you an example. I go forward 1 and 2. I retrograde back 3 and 4. I can go forward 1, 2, retrograde back 3 and 4. This is my version with our retrograde. Starting with my elbow, I'm going to draw part of our box that we did earlier. 1, 2, 3, leg goes back, circle around and back, retrograde, around and back, 1, 2, 3. One more time, up the tempo, it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, circle around, retrograde, 1, 2, 3. Third one, I'm going to play around a little bit with my level sizes. We're going to start with a really big circle with the knee. 1, smaller, 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 smaller. We start small, 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 bigger, and biggest. Notice that we started going this direction and then we finished going that direction. We have that diagonal sense of movement from one side to the other. Here we go, starting big, big, little smaller, tiny, tiny, circle, circle, bigger, and reach. All right, those are my 4 versions. I'm going to take all 4 of those versions, I'm going to put them together in some order. You choose what order you're going to put yours together. This is the order I'm going to put together. So I'm going to start with my circle ones. It goes big circle, little circle, smaller and smallest and medium, big. I go into my diagonal. Circle, diagonal, circle, zigzag down, circle around. I go to the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4 into my retrograde and back, brush through, around, retrograde, back and through and forward. That's going to be my pattern for the moment. I put those 4 together in that pattern. I want you to put yours together in the pattern and come back and see me. Oh, sorry, just improvising. I kind of gave you a flavor of what we're going to do next. So we're going to, not that intricate what I was just doing, but we're going to be taking one body part and moving it into another body part. Hopefully you can just think about this being at random. We want to try and start moving as fast as possible. Again, we won't want to think. So I'm just going to start with my shoulder. My shoulder is going to go shoulder, that goes into my stomach. So one more time. Shoulder goes into my stomach. So my shoulder starts moving in a circle. My stomach starts moving in a circle. That takes it into my hip maybe. Hip. One more time. I go shoulder, stomach, hip. Now I'm going to take it into another body part. It doesn't always have to be circles. It can be straight lines. Our goal is to kind of go back and forth through the body. So again, I start with the elbow. 1, 2, knee. Other knee, head through. One more time. Just keep alternating body parts. If you feel like it's a struggle to come up with a new body part, see if you can find someone else in the house to help you, give you a pointers. They'll just call it out to you. Shoulder, hip, knee, toes. Don't forget about those low movements way down there as well. Nice. One more time. I'm going to keep moving from one body part to another body part. 1, 2, next body part around, through. I want you to play around with that for a few minutes and we'll come back. I know you're probably wondering, what are we going to do with those other things that we created? He forgot to tell me anything about those. And we're going to put these two things together. I have my original phrases, we'll call them a dance phrase. Dance phrase is kind of like a sentence, has a beginning, has a middle, has an end. Something happens in the middle, there's an action, there's a subject. Those little movements where we went from one body part to another body part, moving and flowing, we're going to use as our transition. My first one was actually the knee, so we do the knee. 1 and smaller, 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 elbow and bigger and reach. Now I'm going to use that transition from one to the other. So I'm going to use that transition of going from one body part into another body part, one body part into another body part as my transition. Again, one more time. I start from my pattern A. Pattern A, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Elbow 1, 2, 3, and reach. I go body 1 and 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to go into my next one, pattern B. We go diagonal, knee, diagonal, and around. So let's see if we can connect those two together. Now this is where it starts to get tricky. We have to have a little bit of a memory going on. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. Small circle. 2, 3. From one body part to the other. 2, 3, and 4. I go diagonal, circle, diagonal, circle, zigzag down, circle, circle. Transition into my next one. One body part. I just finished my knee, knee, knee. That goes into my hip. That goes into my shoulders and arms. From there, I'm going to go to my next one, which was the original. 1, 2, 3, and 4. One more time. Transition goes from one body part to the other body part. One body part to the other body part. Into my last one. My last one went into the retrograde. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Now I want you to put that together. You're going to have a transition in between each one of those. It goes body part into another body part. Make sure it's not too long so it's not its own dance phrase. It's just a little transition from one to the other. See if you can make something come up. I'll see you back here in a second. Oh, that was cool. Yeah. Nice. Oh, sorry, I was just watching. Those are some nice things you guys came up with. I told you earlier we don't want to edit. We don't want to edit ourselves when we're improvising. Now we're going to go to the next step. The next step is where we start to think about editing. We start to think about putting things together and make sense. What we just did was string a bunch of movements together. Maybe some of those were interesting. Maybe we made some choices that were interesting. Maybe we didn't make some choices that were interesting. What we want to do next is we want to actually start crafting it into a dance. When we craft something into a dance, we do make choices, we do edit things, and we do think about a few specific ideas. Number one of those ideas is that we want to have a beginning, we want to have a middle, and an end. Oftentimes we call the middle a high point. The high point is the most important thing that happened in our dance. It could be at the very beginning of the dance. It doesn't have to be in the middle. It could be bam, and then the whole thing starts to come down. Just like telling a story, sometimes we talk about the climax of it at the beginning, and we come down off of that from the beginning. The highest point could be at the very end. It could be the very end of the whole dance and come down. That middle section could happen really anywhere in the dance. What we want to do is find one or two things in the movement phrase that you just created that is the most important thing that's going to be, that's the thing that you want the audience to come away from remembering. Let's go back to my dance for a second, the phrases I created. Let's see if we can find one place that we super like in my dance. I do like this moment that goes up to that direction. I like that high point there. That's a good high point. Let's see if we can accent that a little bit more. Now when we accent something, we can do a bunch of different things to make an accent. We can make it sharper, we can make it harder, we can make it smaller. Something tiny in the moment could be an accent. Complete stillness could be an accent as well. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, small. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to make it super hard. Oftentimes when you put two things next to each other that are different, it accents it even more. So that was super fast and sharp. We're going to come out of it super slow and not sharp, rounded. So again, one more time. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, small, smaller, bigger, bigger, melt, melt. Now, you notice I repeated it twice. Repeating is another good way of making something a high point, giving it importance. Awesome, I'm liking this so far. We could do different sizes too. Sizes sometimes make a different, make things important. Sometimes level changes make it important. See if I can pick another part in my dance. I like the retrograde part. Let's see if we can make that swoop around with the leg an important spot. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Again, I did it super big. Let's see if we do it super big into a super slow. So it goes back super big and super slow and boom, boom, bop. Nice, I like that. So change again between speed. Remember we talked about putting two things that are different next to each other. When we put two ideas different next to each other, it accents them. I want you to pick one place or two, you can pick two, one place at least in your dance that's the most important. Make it as super accented and make it the most important part of your dance. All right, I'll be waiting for you to come back. Oh, hi, sorry, you're back. I was just trying to get a good workout in while I was waiting on you guys. But while we're down here, let's just talk about level change. We talked a little bit about it, but make sure that we also include, think about level change as an idea of trying to change the dynamic of our high point and low point. Sometimes taking something down to a low space, remember our circles, we have that circle down here at the low space, or even using it on the floor, circling, we could have circle straight lines on the floor. Level change is the big deal. Taking something all the way from the top, all the way back down to the bottom, way down here on the floor could also be a good tool to change our high point. All right, I'll catch you guys back up there. Okay, so hopefully you came up with a couple high points, one big high point in your dance. Now let's talk about endings. Endings are probably the hardest thing. There are simple ways to make endings. You guys have seen these before. Taking a pose, making a big jump, taking a pose. Taking a pose is always a good way of ending it. It's not always the most creative way of ending it, but a good way of ending it. Tons and tons of different ways to think about ending. It's going to be specific to your dance. I like one spot in my dance so far that I think could make a good ending. We're going to do this one as the Z. So we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now that's a really good place for an ending because of the rhythm. Let's see if we can make it into something a little bit more. This is my full ending. We go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn, 1, 2, 3. Again, I have a pause at the end, but there's a connection point. You notice the connection point is the repetition. We have a turn, we come back to that 1, 2, 3 idea. That's the ending of my dance. Oh, did you like that ending? All right, Ruby has to make an appearance. Ruby said she liked the ending. I hope you guys liked it too. All right, everybody, coming up with your own ending. We want to find an ending. So these are the elements we have so far. And you can cut some things out. You don't have to keep every single element that you've created so far. Some of them work, some of them don't work. If something doesn't work, feel free to get rid of it. That's this place where we're starting to edit things out and get rid of it. It's your choice at this point what you think works and what doesn't work. Some unique things are going to work, some unique things aren't going to work. All right, it's time for us to create the whole dance. The whole dance is going to be, your dance is going to be the number of parts that you have or edit out. I had 4 original parts, I had some transitions, I had a high point, and then I had my ending. I'm going to go away and put mine into a whole finished dance. You go away, put yours into a finished dance. We'll come back and share with each other. Hey, welcome back everybody. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I'm going to share my final version of my dance. I love both parts of the creative process. I love the coming up with new movement part, the improvisation, just letting my mind be free and open. I also love the part where I get to craft and edit and make things, make big changes that make sense for the audience. So this is my version of the dance that I just created here live. Literally, I just created this in this moment with you guys. I hope you guys can share your videos with us, with me. Love to see the videos that you came up. This is only a very small taste of ideas that we can use to create dances. We simply used lines moving in space and circles moving in space. That's primarily the only thing we use. We talked about a few of the elements of dance. There are so many different ways of coming up with new movements, so many different unique ideas. Hopefully I can make some more and share with you, but let me just share my dance real quick. I hope you guys liked it. You can see I changed a lot of things. I took things that I really liked and I accented those things. I changed some ideas. I mixed some of them around. You're welcome to do that, mixing things up, changing things up. The initial idea that we did in creating the movement is just that. It's a way of coming up with new movement. And then once we've come up with new movement, we can make that editing process. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with you guys, so I'll see you next time.